Well, they say it's jump in, sink or swim. Well, we jumped in and we went all the way to the hips. Well, we're kind of up creek now. One of those lingering projects on the motorhome that we have teased about ever since we've owned it has been the headlights. It just had the factory OEM Country Coach headlights in it, and they're all faded and yellowed out and just cracking and all that stuff like that. And I had actually purchased new headlights for the motorhome almost the day after we bought it. So I have had these headlights for almost 2 years. And every time I would look in there to start to think about trying to change them out, I would change my mind really quickly, and we have just drove it like it is. But it is time to absolutely I've got to do something with the headlights. So I took it upon myself that I was going to get these things out. Now, little did I know that the previous owner had glued the headlight assemblies into the buckets. And as you can see, I had to do some destroying to even get the things out. So where every single one of the adjusters was, they have epoxied the headlight to the actual bucket. And the headlight bucket is broken. There are pieces missing out of there where the adjusters go. As you can see, there's all kinds of epoxy and stuff everywhere. So I don't know what I'm gonna do. The proper way to fix it is really and truly all that needs to be cut out of there and new tabs all glassed in, and we can't go through all that. So I mean, they even got stuff up here. But anyways, I am going to brainstorm for a little while and see what I can come up with to try to figure out a way to get the new headlights into the Country Coach. And while we are brainstorming and talking about the headlights, these are the ones. I got these from Premier Coach out in Oregon. They came recommended to me as what they install in the coaches. And Kevin out there sent me a link to them, and I just purchased them directly. But yes, they are all halo, LED. They have daytime running in them. They have... what else? They have an LED strip up here at the top, as you can see. They are a really, really beautiful headlight. Very, very heavy. And I talked to Kevin out there about the headlights and everything on the coach, and he recommended these. He said that's what they put in, so that's what I bought. And I have I've just put them off on getting them in there. But like I say, I'm just going to have to sit back, really do some brainstorming, look at what we have to work with. This is not going to be a how-to video because there is too much damage in there to say this is how you change your headlights out. So I'm going to have to do some severe modifications and come up with something. So that's it. We'll be back in a little bit after I figure out something. Okay, so after an hour or so of brainstorming now, I think I have come up with a solution that seems that it is going to work rather well. Okay, retouching on the OEM style headlights. The OEM style headlights were actually kind of a two-piece headlight that just fit together like this, okay? But of course the previous owner had glued those together as well, okay? Now, the actual headlight retaining clips, per se, what you want to say, is actually this hole, and this hole, which are still in relatively good shape. They're just ate out. And then this hole, it's hard to see, it's dark. This hole, this one that's broken, and this one that's kind of funky was actually used originally with a two-piece style headlight for the main headlight so that you could adjust it. But all of that stuff was broken, so all they did was they just glued a bunch of epoxy all over everything. They glued the two pieces together, they put a bunch of epoxy on the back of it, and they just shoved it in the hole. So what I've come up with, all right, again, here's our replacement style headlight. And as you'll see, right here, and right here would have been our OEM style retaining clips, where it would be a plastic kind of clip, and it would press into the hole on the motorhome, and then these would snap into there. Okay, but all that stuff's broken. These are a one-piece headlight, so they're really, they would have been adjusted with these with a different style of adjuster altogether, which is not even the way this is set up. These are removable, all right? They just unscrew out of the headlights. So what I did was I unscrewed them. Here they are. This is all they look like right here. All right. We just unscrewed those, and I have replaced that with some 1/4-inch threaded rod. Okay. So the 1/4-inch threaded rod screws right back down in there. Granted, that's a real coarse cut to cut into the plastic, but it works. So the thread just cuts into the plastic, and then we added a jam nut on it to bottom it out to give us a base for this, okay? Now, all we have to do is, let me try to do this one-handed. I got a bunch of components here. This may get a little rough for a minute. Bear with me. Now all we got to do is just put the headlight back up in there, put our threaded rods through where the original OEM style clips would have went, just like that. There it is. All right. And now to get back in here, it's kind of hard to see in here also. I cut these really long intentionally. Not knowing exactly what we're going to need now, but now I can access the threaded rods from the back. We can put a washer up on there. Actually, what we're going to do, we're going to take this back out. We're going to double nut these. So we're going to put a nut on the outside of the little mounting flange and on the inside, and that way I can adjust the headlight still because of how crappy the bucket is. But then on the inside, all we got to do is we can run a flat washer over it. Put a nut on here. We'll use a locking nut. Tighten it down. There we go. Problem solved. Without, honestly, just as the previous owner chose not to do. The way to fix it correctly is all that should be re-fiberglassed. All new holes put in there to be the correct diameter, so we could use the correct inserts and all that kind of stuff like that. But this is a very, very easy solution, honestly, that I came up with. It's going to work just fine, and it still makes the headlight accessible where you can take it in and out versus how the previous owner decided to glue them in there. So I'm going to get the headlight back out, get the washers and everything put on it for the adjustment, and then we'll mount it back in there and get it all tightened up, and I'll show y'all how that looks. And so there it is. New headlight, halos, LED projector style bulbs in them versus the old original Country Coach installed OEM headlights, which are actually Ford Explorer headlights, just in case anybody was wondering. But anyway, there it is. Our method worked out pretty good, actually. They're very nice. We can aim them. Of course, we'll have to wait till it gets dark outside, pull it out on the road, and but we'll take a look up here in the back side. It's kind of dark, bear with me. But anyway, like I say, there's our studs. I left them long. I mean, what does it matter, right? But anyway, they're just nutted up on the back. We got some nylock lock nuts to put up on there that'll keep the adjuster. I used a regular nut on each side for the adjustment, and then once I get them set, then I'll use a nylock lock nut up against it, and that'll keep them from coming loose from vibration. But that's it. Again, not a how-to, because our situation was really bad. By all practical matters, you should be able to pop the stock headlights out of there and pop the new ones in and follow the instructions on where to plug in all the different plugs and stuff like that. But of course, our previous owner, no such luck with us. But anyways, now we're going to repeat on the other side. I can only imagine it's going to be the same way. I'm probably going to have to cut it all out of there and address the situation when we get there. But they do look much better. Of course, I'll get the door put back on there, look a lot better. But anyway, there it is. I really like them. I'm glad I finally did it. It's only taken 2 years. What can I say? On to the next project.